we're in Boston with a huge exclusive, the trailer for the just-announced Prey 2.
Plus, we've got Call of Juarez, the Cartel, Portal 2, and a review of Dragon Age 2. X-Play starts right now.
PAX East, presented by Wendy's. I'm Morgan West.
And I'm Adam Sessler. We're coming to you from the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center in, you guessed it, Boston.
Amazing. We'll be here on the floor all week, taking in the games, the booths, and enough germs to make a chemical weapon.
Plus, for some strange reason, we decided to do a live show during our panel. We need to stop drinking on Wednesday.
For real. Coming up on today's show, we'll hit the floor and find the convention's best cosplayers. Then we've got a gameplay preview of Valve's Portal 2.
Plus, we'll swing by the Nukem Forever booth, and then we'll go on location for a tour of Turbine, the developers of Lord of the Rings Online and D&D Online.
But first, a game we can't believe is real.
ZeniMax Media bought the franchise rights for Prey back in 2009. But honestly, ZeniMax buys a lot of things.
Yeah.
We didn't think an actual sequel would be made.
Well, it happened, and we've got the trailer. You're not going to see this anywhere else.
Come on, Charlie. She's asked you to turn it off. In a second, Meg. All right. Playtime is over. You need to put it away. You're gonna get us in trouble. Oh, could you calm down? I'm not getting kicked off this plane, I swear. You're bothering anybody. You're bothering me.
Sir, asked you to turn that off. Could you do so?
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Told you.
Okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm sorry.
Get out of here. Stop.
Sweet.
Please fasten your seatbelts. We're expecting some turbulence overall. Thank you.
That's badass. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wow. What?
Charlie?
But,
Charlie, get over here.
yeah, I'm coming.
What is that? Get over here.
This summer, we're getting a new Call of Juarez game, and it's not quite what you'd expect. The developers have actually updated the Old West setting for a more modern take on gunslingers. Here's a preview of Call of Juarez, the Cartel. I'm here with Blaze. We are talking Call of Juarez, the Cartel. Now, this is something that people are seeing for the very first time. So how have people been responding to seeing this game played here at the show?
Well, they are interested. They were actually a little nervous about us changing the setting, but We're trying to convince them that this is still a Wild West game, and this is what we want to show right now.
Let's talk about the 3 characters that you're bringing to the table.
So we have an FBI agent, a DEA agent, and an LAPD cop. And the LAPD guy, Ben McCall, he's actually a descendant of Ray McCall from the previous game. Eddie Guerra, he's the DEA type. He's our smooth talker, ladies man, but he's also a gambler and he needs money, so that gets him into trouble. And the girl, Kimberly Evans, an FBI special agent. She's the new girl. She's a rising star, but she has some dark past. So there is room for a lot of friction in there.
And let's talk about the 3-player drop-in, drop-out co-op. You can play the game as a single player all the way through, but you're experiencing it in different ways if you bring other people in.
On the top of the wish list after Call of Juarez 2, there was cooperative mode. So instead of just doing it for 2, we went for free, and the whole story is built around it. And all the gameplay features that are important in the game actually work in co-op. So you can drive a car and have 2 shooters with you. The concentration mode, slow motion shooting, also works for the whole team if they are nearby. So things get really interesting and different for every character.
You bet against the wrong hombre, ese.
When can we expect to see the game?
They're coming.
We're talking about summer 2011.
Summer 2011. Well, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, stick around. X-Play All Access PAX East is just beginning. You do not want to miss a special look at this year's dedicated cosplayers, as well as a preview of Duke Nukem Forever. Plus, we've got Adam's no-hold-barred review of Dragon Age 2. It's a doozy. And a preview of the game that's making me hungry for cake, Portal 2. All that and more right after this. No! No!
X-Play All Access PAX East 11 is brought to you by Wendy's. You know when it's real. For our complete written review of all the latest games, including my Dragon Age 2 opus, Beyond Good and Evil HD, Fight Night Champion, and more, go to G4TV.com. We'll be right back. Really, I had to do this. It's a visual pun, get it? I'm so damn clever. Welcome back to X-Play, All Access PAX East. This convention is all about embracing your inner geek and hanging out with like-minded people. But if you're the type that likes to embrace your outer geek, and like these guys are right here, that means it's cosplay time. There are people at play, and then there's people at cosplay. Another thing that may be a truism about cosplay is that size does matter. And you guys have it. How hard is it to put together this little sister outfit?
The dress took a really long time. We had to order the base of it offline. The gun took the longest, the syringe. This is a 1920s gas pump, so it's really heavy.
Now, you're Poison Ivy. Did you choose Poison Ivy because you just had a lot of green face paint?
No, actually, this is the first time I've done it this way. We actually all dress up as these characters, but we normally either do a comic book version or the animated series version, which is what I'm going to be doing tomorrow.
The wings are actually PVC piping that I melted with a heat gun to get the shape I needed. It's then covered in chicken wire, paper mache multiple times, sprayed, sewed, hot glued, yeah.
Is that wood?
This is fiberglass. Like, I could take a bullet with this. And because I wanted it to look real, I didn't want it to look like foamy or anything like that.
I was like, I need to represent pirates because there's too many ninjas.
Where does one get a burlap sack? I've never seen them available in a store.
I actually didn't get a burlap sack. I just bought a bunch of burlap from a fabric store.
These are the few, the proud, the cosplayers. As someone who tends to feel satisfaction just getting their pants on the first attempt in the morning, I must say I'm just in awe of the effort and achievements of all these fabulous, good-looking people here at PAX East. A round of applause. Come on, guys. Yeah, there we go.
Last fall at PAX Prime in Seattle, everybody was buzzing about the unveiling of Duke Nukem Forever. Without a doubt, it stole the show. The East Coasters haven't been left in the cold because Duke's here for an encore. visitors to Duke's booth got a chance to sit on his royal throne. I took a pass, but I did speak to the game's chief creative officer. What level are we looking at right now?
We'll be looking at the intro of the game, and so the first intro levels, which you get to see the first big boss of the game, and then we'll get to see one of the other later levels, which is in the desert.
Time to stop around and get this big guy back into action.
So what's the essence of Duke Nukem Forever?
The essence of Duke is this over-the-top, misogynistic sort of like, ladies' man kind of action hero.
All right, time for my reward.
So this game has sort of famously been in development for, at this point, I don't even know how many years. Like, what assets did you have? Was there anything workable? Did you have to start from scratch? How did you create this game?
Well, when 3D Realms shut down, there was still a lot of the game left, and some of the guys went off to kind of keep working on it. They couldn't let it die. So a lot of the game was already there. So what we really had to do was figure out how we're going to get this game that's been in development for 12 years onto the console.
Looks like those alien bastards drank all my beer.
If you're worried it won't live up to modern graphical standards, don't be. Brian assures us there's plenty of eye candy.
A lot of the game has some of the great sort of modern day sort of shaders and all those kind of things that you would expect. Yes, it's a game that's been in development a long time, but that's probably more about perfection or a goal of perfection than actually, technical capabilities or not.
I'm from Las Vegas, and I say kill them all.
All right, so when are people going to be able to check this out for themselves?
They'll finally be able to get it on their hands May 3rd.
We hope it's worth the wait.
And just because we're on the road doesn't mean we can skip out on our normal show responsibilities like reviews as much as I'd like to. Dragon Age 2 is a long, complex RPG that somehow managed to hit shelves a year and a half after the first game. There's some big changes, some good, some not so good. Here's our review. For anyone who thinks that we farm out our reviews to 12-year-old Laotian refugees, well, we sometimes do that. If you've ever watched a review of any Naruto game, you can assume it was written on a raft with a piece of charcoal. But for certain games, we roll up our sleeves and dig in. Take, for example, Dragon Age 2.
Let's see what they have to say.
I've personally put 75 hours into it, and I feel conflicted. It's filled with engrossing characterizations, and the production design is much improved over the original. But it features uneven combat, repetitive dungeons, and a story that lacks overall motivation.
As if I had nothing better to do.
You'll assume the character of Hawk, who can be either male or female depending on your preference. If you've ever played a BioWare game, you're already familiar with their basic 3-act story structure.
Are we really surprised?
The surprise in Dragon Age 2 is the self-contained way each chapter comes together. It's also strange that after 40 hours, there's no overall drive or compelling storyline. It's nice to avoid the whole saving the world cliche, but there's definitely a lack of suspense. Basically, it has the same amount of narrative grandeur as an episode of How It's Made.
We can't afford that kind of liability.
However, in the self-contained sections, the writing can be superb. The cast of supporting characters are some of the most memorable personalities in any recent game.
Listen to me babbling like a lyrium smuggler, which I'm not.
The conversation system is a remarkable achievement. Your choices aren't obviously black and white, but varied and complex. By the way, a lot of the dialogue takes place while you're covered head to toe in blood. Everyone looks like they just stepped out of the finale of Carrie.
So much blood.
Unfortunately, the overall presentation is held back by limited environments. You spend about 80% of the game in the city-state of Kirkwall. When you do leave, it's for dungeons that are beyond repetitive. The locations get run into the ground faster than a Charlie Sheen catchphrase. Which brings us to combat.
I offer you this.
It's significantly faster than in Dragon Age Origins.
Oh, thank goodness.
But it's a mixed bag. When things are going well, you primarily control Hawk and your compatriots effectively help you. But when tons of enemies pop up or absurdly powerful bosses appear, things quickly descend into visual chaos. Overall, the game is simply not designed to easily handle the nuances of traditional RPG strategy. Dragon Age 2 is decidedly uneven. We wish the individual components were as polished as the game's excellent dialogue and characterization.
What else aren't you telling me then?
It's still a lot of fun to play, but for a game this long,
I'm sure it won't be much longer.
You'll probably be feeling the need for something new. Dragon Age 2 is a 3.
I guess we'll sit around thinking about how great we used to be.
Out of 5.
All right, stick around. Because you're playing, you can't go anywhere. We've got more from PAX on the way, including a preview of Portal 2. Plus, find out what it's like to work on free-to-play MMOs. We take a little tour of Turbine. We will be right back. Come here. You can't move. You can't move. So good. Welcome back. Contrary to what some might think, you actually don't have to charge $15 a month for an MMO to be a hit. Let's talk about Turbine, for instance. They produce both Lord of the Rings Online and Dungeons & Dragons Online, both free to play, both very, very successful. And I took a tour of their studio to see how it all works.
Somewhere in Needham, Mass, far away from the stench of any Celtic, is a Shire. A Shire like no other. Turbine Games. The fine folks of Turbine gave X-Play a rare look inside these hallowed Turbine halls.
I am here at Turbine, makers of some tiny little online games from tiny little properties you might have heard of. Lord of the Rings Online, Dungeons & Dragons Online. So Adam here, who's the Director of Communications, or as I like to call him, babysitter, is going to walk me around and give me a tour of the studios. So,
yeah, definitely. Let's go check out Turbine.
Let's do it.
As you might imagine, is where a lot of our creative work is done. We take everything that we want to reimagine the world for Lord of the Rings or Dungeons & Dragons. We start with concept art. It goes and gets rigged up, it gets animated, it gets put in game. All that happens in this room right here.
I feel like this would probably be one of the most stressed out cubicle farms in this building.
I don't know.
Because there's a lot of stuff these guys are doing.
They're working very hard, no doubt about it. Certainly we have lots of people in this building that are very passionate about their work. I've got guys here that read and write Elvish. So all the Elvish in Lord of the Rings has to be authentic, you know, and we run that by our licensor at the Tolkien estate. So
wow.
Yeah, so we have some serious people that are really passionate about both both of our games and gaming in general.
So this gentleman right here literally has the power to create and destroy entire worlds.
Yeah, you know, that's fairly accurate. This is literally our world building department. This is where the guys can take the text of J.R.R. Tolkien and bring it to life and try to bring these worlds the way you pictured them when you first read the books when you were a kid or, you know, in school.
It was then that the tour got a little dark.
So we're in some sort of cavern.
Yeah, it's a dungeon, right?
Yes.
Maybe appropriate. Well,
Yeah.
this is a darker room. This is where we do all of our video and audio for all of our games. Whether it's obviously our soundtrack, sound effects, voiceovers, things like that happen in our games, as well as marketing trailers and things that we use to promote the games. So that's all done back here in the cave. They like it dark back here.
Our fellowship went on for ages, enough to fill 3 Peter Jackson movies.
Well, man, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I mean, this is obviously only a little fraction of all the great people here that make our games, but we're thrilled you guys came out to Boston to see us, and we hope you come back soon.
I'd love to. You're not going to change the locks, are you?
No. You're always welcome back.
Sounds good. Thanks again, Adam.
Take care,
Appreciate it.
Portal 2 is out in just a month, and considering how close we are to the release date, we know hardly anything about it. Why the secrecy valve? Hopefully that'll change after I swing by their booth.
You might want to hang on to something. Word of advice, up to you.
Portal 2 has a big presence at PAX East with a huge booth that shows off never-before-seen footage of the game. So you guys showed a really funny video, and the line to see it is around the booth, I think, twice. So what are you showing?
Today we're showing a little bit of the first part of the game, kind of more Wheatley, more characters and more scenes.
It's not out of the question that you might have a very minor case of serious brain damage. But don't be alarmed, all right? Although if you do feel alarmed, try to hold on to that feeling, because that is the proper reaction to being told that you've got brain damage.
And then the second part, we're introducing a kind of a new part of the game we haven't shown anybody with the new character, Cave Johnson.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Cave Johnson. I own the place.
Portal 2 has the same quirky sense of humor that made you fall in love with the original.
Those of you who volunteered to be injected with praying mantis DNA, I've got some good news and some bad news. Bad news is we're postponing those tests indefinitely. Good news is we've got a much better test for you, fighting an army of mantis men.
There's going to be a lot of game to love. Portal 2 is much longer than the first one.
Well, when we built Portal 1, we didn't pick a length, right? We kind of trained players up, we kind of taught them everything they needed to know, and that's about the size of the game that it produced. And now with the more mechanics and the story and the characters, the game just had to grow. So this time around, the single-player game, just the single-player game, is about 2.5 to 3 times longer than all of Portal 1, and then co-op besides that is 2 times longer than the first Portal 1, so there's a lot more here for people.
Just say yes. Okay, what you're doing there is jumping. You just jumped, but never mind.
So when is the game coming out? Very soon, right?
Yeah, April 19th.
We are looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Tomorrow, X-Play All Access PAX East continues with the latest on Star Wars The Old Republic.
Soon the Republic's failure will be complete, and nothing will stand in the way of the new Empire.
And previews of Fear 3,
Playtime,
and id's apocalyptic shooter Rage.
Call this place the Wasteland.
And a brand new downloadable Magic the Gathering game. All that and more, don't miss it.
X-Play All Access PAX East continues tomorrow night at 6:30.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
X-Play, X-Play, X-Play,